Okay, my name is Iheoma Obibi. I work for Alliances for Africa. The Nigerian Feminist Forum is a secretariat that is housed in the offices of Alliances for Africa. The children were abducted first, they were kidnapped, but more critically, they were then trafficked across borders of Nigeria into another country. And that for us is a serious breach of all fundamentals and regulations. Rather simple. In Nigeria, on a daily basis, we lose, a lot of young women go missing. A lot of young girls are abducted and never seen again. We have an international crisis on trafficking in underage minors already. And clearly, these girls were targeted for their specific age. I understand it's never been verified because it's taken everybody too long from the government side to get it together, that certain children under a particular age were released. We don't know whether it was those that were 12 or 13, but the most important thing is that they were looking for a sex between the ages of 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And they're all minors. They may not be my daughter, they may not be your daughter, but they're somebody else's daughter. And more importantly, they are the future of Nigeria. I don't think they took it seriously initially. That's my personal view, and I think I'm entitled to that view. Why do I say that? In any other part of the world, I mean, I lived in the UK for a long time. If a child disappears within 24 hours, that child's portrait, name, what the child was wearing, the color of the child's eyes, the height, would be, in fact, literally, you'll be eating and breathing that child via the media. As we speak, we have only been able, I think at the end of last week, because of the intervention of the president's wife via WIEC, to get a list of the girls. There is no media attention to their portraits. So you may see these girls, communities may see these girls, but not actually know that those are the girls they're looking for. Our fear is what is called the Stockholm Syndrome, where the girls begin to affiliate and begin to, due to fear, be part of the system that they've been brainwashed into. And when they're rescued, then there's a problem. And, you know, to be victims of sexual assault is one thing. To be deliberately taken for the purpose of sexual gratification is a fundamental problem that we have to address as a nation. We clearly have a problem in which young girls are always the victims in crime. So if there's an armed robbery, they'll rape all the girls first. They rape all the women first, even though they came to steal. I'm very sure that you can come and steal and not rape. But rape, being seen as a trophy, is a problem, and we have to address it. The issue is, I mean, the figures that we have that were public is that in 2012 they spent 922 billion. In 2013 they spent 1 trillion naira, and in 2014 they have a budget of 845 billion. Yet, as of this morning, there's a newspaper article online in which military officers were being interviewed, anonymously of course, and their allowance, which was formerly 30,000 naira, has been deducted to 15,000 naira. Now, and they're being told to fight Boko Haram. One of the individuals that was interviewed spent 2 years away from the country serving in another contingent. Now, my problem is this. How is it that we expect to get the best out of them when we are not paying them properly, they're not feeding properly, they don't have the right ammunition, they're not taken care of? These are people that are supposed to take care of this nation and all of us as individuals and as a community. Who reduced their salary from 30,000 naira to 15,000 naira. Why? Is the president aware, as a, chief of staff, or the head of the military? Is somebody, I'm not a military person. I'm just like thinking off the top of my head that something has gone wrong. If we're asking these officers to be, these lieutenants to be out there looking for Boko Haram, who are clearly better armed, have better intelligence, and we're only paying them 15,000. Are you guys for real? That's below the minimum wage. The minimum wage for Nigeria is 18,000 naira. So what happened? I foresee them getting the children back, but I foresee a set of children that are going to come back so heavily traumatized. Some will be pregnant, and the reality is that some will be pregnant. Some will be infected with HIV, any of the STDs going, hepatitis A, B, C, gonorrhea, syphilis, chlamydia, you name it. Now the issue now for me is, what is the Ministry of Health, working with the Ministry of Women's Affairs, working with those organizations that are used to working in trauma situations, putting in place? What are the mechanics in place to ensure that when these girls come back, they are immediately put into counseling? And counseling is not one day and that's it, you talk to them. That's not how we do counseling, Nigerians. Let's just get it together. Counseling is a 2-3 year process. It happens once a week, twice a week, as long as the individual needs it. So no one should think guidance and counseling. You Nigerians, we have this thing that we do and we think that we're doing it well. No. Trauma counseling is different. And it is not a one-off. It is a long-term investment. And so for me, I recognize that the girls are out there. My concern is the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Women's Affairs, non-governmental organizations, the United Nations, the National Human Rights Commission, Vice Saudat Madi, who is the link person for sexual violence in the commission. What are you guys doing? What is being put in place to ensure that when these girls come back, there is immediate assistance, that we're not waiting for something to happen? I think whether we like it or not, we need to find out what the issues are. What are the community demands? Why do we have young men so disillusioned that they feel that joining the jihadist movement is going to get them what they need? What can the community, because at the end of the day, it is a community. And it is no longer them terrorizing, the rumor was, oh, it's just the Christians. Oh, they will just want, no, now it's children. And once children start getting involved, we as adults really need to think about what is happening, because children are the future. They're the generation. We're all going to die anyway. We're old. We're going to peg off very soon. But these young ones, 8, 9, 10, they are the future. And we need to make sure that they have a future that they can look up to. I think the government has to work with the community to find a solution to the problem and to make Boko Haram less attractive to join.